This was quick. People are already responding. What's up, people? I'm live on YouTube right now. I hope you guys can hear me. I have my AC machine running in my room, which is loud and probably fucking up the audio, but I don't care because it's LA and it's hot as shit. And this is the only room in my house I can tolerate. What's up, motherfuckers? I'm live, which is terrifying because if I fuck up and I want to abort and just not show anybody the video, I can't because it's live. And then at least this amount of people, at least this many people are going to see it. And now I'm just getting ambushed on the sidebar. So what's going on in my life? I'm still on hiatus. I'm still taking a little break from uploading videos. I took 1 full week off where I just didn't do anything. I just drank and tried to get laid, as I alluded to last week. And then I've been writing up a storm this fucking week. But a little taste of what's to come. Got some good scripts written. We're filming on Saturday in Lenigi. He's going to have a shot at getting back into the squad. I told him he wasn't cut at the end of that last video, the I fired him video. Here's the thing with Iggy. He's got too big of a penis. He's a 5'5" Native American man who will get anything tattooed that you ask him, and he's got a gigantic cock. He's a fucking godsend. And then also, his performance in that City with No Laws video, the Slab City, just immortalized him. Like, whatever he does for the rest of his career, he can just coast off that performance of him just drinking that entire probably drugged bottle of tequila at that homeless encampment and then threatening to rape me, to like rip off my testicles in the back of that car. That was a legendary performance, people. That's like, I mean, Chuck Liddell in the UFC is still booking fights off like knockouts in 2006. Like, he's still getting paid like $500,000 to show up because he made Jeremy Horn's brain rattle around in like 13, 14 years ago. So what else are we going to talk about here today? I'm going to talk about the Tahoe trip, kind of some of the shit you didn't see on screen in the video, and then I'm going to get into my hiatus. So what that meant is I'm going to talk about some of the fan interactions. I'm going to talk about having sex with a random girl I met in a casino in Tahoe. And I'm going to talk about having sex with two groupies, one right after Tahoe, and then one later who I like saw twice and is a really cool girl. And I'm not going to like get in depth into the groupie fucking, but I'm going to analyze this as a phenomenon because God knows it's never happened before. And usually YouTube is just a repellent and nobody wants anything to do with my ass. So I'm going to keep looking over here because I got these shitty notes. I'm trying not to make this live just a mumbling shit fest. Okay, so I'm going to pick up like at the beach in Tahoe. If you saw that video, I fired him, and you should see that. And people are being assholes in text. I'm sorry. I got to go turn off my phone. People, like, they see I'm live, and they decide it's just a fantastic time to start calling and texting me. I hate everybody. But, so yeah, the beach after the I fired him video. So all these fucking college guys, I'm like apparently their wet dream. And I loved it at the time. This was my first fucking dose of celebrity. And these guys, like the Dangle and his squad, invited us back up to their cabin. So you saw it. We were partying and drinking. That's how every like fanboy reacts when they see me now. I'm beginning to understand is their first instinct is to shove a bottle of alcohol into my face. They see Danny Mullen and they just assume I want to drink at any given moment. So I was just blacked out drunk at that cabin party. Once or twice, I had to run to the back balcony and just vomit my guts out. And then eventually one of the young boys approached me about doing some coke. I've mentioned various times on my lives and in my videos that you try to not do drugs anymore. And like I had my phase and I've stopped. But in Tahoe, I was so stressed out from these past 6 months of working my ass off that the instinct is just to binge, just to immediately fucking binge. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not go downstairs and do a bunch of blow with like 18-year-old freshmen in college? So I'm sure that I don't really remember because I was so drunk from the booze they were offering, but I was just snorting line after line, and I eventually reemerged upstairs, a coked out fucking mess. And 1 second, I'm going to turn my phone off because I have a feeling it's going to start ringing again. Here's my phone. Gone. I'm throwing it in the laundry hamper. Don't contact me, people. I hate all of you. So, this party in Tahoe, it was so it was great. All the adulation from a bunch of college guys. The problem I was running into, though, was all the women that they brought along to that party. That it was like an unswept minefield in some fucking city street in Iraq, because there were a bunch of like 17 and 16-year-old girls hanging out at this party too. I don't know whose idea it was to invite all of them to a college party. So that kind of took all the women out of the equation, and they weren't really in the equation to begin with, because let's face it, I think it would have been a lot easier to talk one of the dudes into sucking my cock than any of the women there. But yeah, it was bad. And there was also like this 15-year-old guy there. He was a cool kid, this 15-year-old, but he told me he got into a nightclub the night before with a fake ID and was like making out with a 25-year-old chick, which is awesome because nobody cares about man on woman or woman on man statutory rape. So yeah, that made it a difficult atmosphere. Eventually we had to leave the party for some reason or another, but I'd done so much coke and I was so fucking drunk that I wanted to keep going, and I wanted to keep going well into the night. And I remember Leo and I were out, and I was chasing ass until maybe 3 or 4 in the morning. And I was on the verge of going home and passing out. I wanted to quit, but Leo said, "No, Danny, this is no time to give in. You're a great man, and you deserve to put that filthy, slender, snake-like penis of yours inside something warm tonight." And in a total coked-out blackout, and I've seen the footage of myself, I had to edit that goddamn "I fired him" video. And it was the most fucked up and unruly and coked out. My jaw's just wired the whole time. I'm gnawing on my cheeks. There was interior bleeding inside my mouth for the next week and a half. In that state, I managed to stop this pair of like 35-year-old women in their tracks coming into the casino. We sit them down at the center bar. And whatever the opposite of charming is, I was that at that center bar. I remember with probably within 10 lines of dialogue with like this 35-year-old half Asian woman, I was like, "I'm going to come to your home someday. I'm going to bend you over a futon. I'm going to put my cock in your ass. I'm going to ejaculate in it. And I'm going to walk out the door and I'm going to never talk to you again." Which in most normal circumstances is grounds for getting slapped in the face or getting security called. But I guess I don't really remember it because of all the cocaine and alcohol. But I guess the girl just loved it because like the next frame of memory I have is being back at our cabin with this girl, and we're like, she's making out with me and like encouraging me to do more of her cocaine that she brought. And then we're in the back room. I had her pants off. I was licking her ass, which was very well manicured. When girls in their 30s, they have the resources to get a wax job. And I had my tongue in her ass, and then I had very uncoordinated anal sex with her for about 4 minutes before I just like fell over and passed out. And I woke up in the next morning and she was gone. That was the sex I had. I'm starting to realize that I've become the shittiest lay lately because I get no practice. Because all I'm doing is sitting here writing up these fucking scripts and editing these videos and going out filming with 5'5" Native American men with huge penises and discharged Marines who have 18-year-old girlfriends. And that takes up most of the time. And there isn't time for staying out late and chasing the poon like I used to. I used to be a good fucking lay. I read this book I have over on my shelf here about giving oral sex. I read that fucking book that, what is it called? The 50 Shades of Grey, where the dude like fucking chains the girl up and shit. I read that. And yeah, that was like me for a while. I was like real dominant, and I'd like tell girls what to do in bed. I'd go fucking sit over there, or I'm gonna slap you, or like suck my cock right now. Oh, and they ate it up. They like to be like told what to do. But now with the Me Too thing going on, like the constant fear for anybody is just like whatever you said or did in the bedroom is going to appear at like noon the next day in like an enraged Huffington Post blog post. And just anything you say in the bedroom is going to look bad on a blog post on Huffington Post. And like some of the really like inspired sexual orders I give, like, "Oh, you better start fucking me cowgirl right now or I'm going to kill your first son," like, or something like that, which is like, you know, might turn the girl on or something. That's going to like fucking like make it so like YouTube like fucking deplatforms me now because of Me Too or whatever. So can't do that. Can't do that. So what are we fucking talking about here? I got my notes. Yeah, so my break. I took a hiatus, and I'm such a fucking workaholic that the hiatus was work in itself. I was trying consciously to do nothing. I remember literally at one point in my break, it was like Tuesday afternoon, and I just went outside to stare at this tree. I was just standing there. My parents were out of town, and I had their house to myself, and I was just staring at a tree for like 15 minutes, just like trying not to think about anything and just trying to take in the day. It was fucking stupid. I just watched a bunch of terrible movies. I watched Fast and the Furious. That movie was garbage. Yeah, and I wrote this. I wrote this down when I was really high the other night. I started getting really upset when I realized that Vin Diesel's name was Vin Diesel, because nobody talks about that. When you think of Vin Diesel, you think of bald guy of indeterminate race. There are rumors that he was gay for a while, like drives a car around fast in movies, was in Triple X. But the guy's name is Vin fucking Diesel. And his real name, I went and looked it up, is Mark Sinclair. Now, I don't know. I get like coming up with a stage name or like a fake name that's like kind of a fakey thing, like Ringo Starr is pushing it, or like fucking Ace Frehley from Kiss. But Vin Diesel is just so like you fucking Diesel is a type of gas is your last name. How do you have the fucking balls to get that started or get that off the ground? Like, I'm gonna be like if I just started calling myself like Danny Torque or like fucking like Stevie Power or some fucking bullshit. I don't know. Like, I don't know how, like, do your friends at any point ever tell you like, hey man, like you want to start off with something more middle of the road here? Fucking see, this is already going disastrously. I'm like pontificating fucking endlessly on Vin Diesel's name. What else do I have to talk about? I'm going to give you guys some more info of what's to come here, and then I'm going to start fielding questions from the general public. It's hard. This is such a mess. It's just like a fucking attack of people saying things on screen. So I'm going to try to get around to questions, people. What else do I have to say? The last thing I'm going to talk about, oh yeah, groupies. I wrote down that I was going to talk about like girls that hit me up off the internet and want to like have sex, because that's new and that never happened before. Yeah, the closest thing I had to a groupie before this hiatus was this fat chick from Norway sucked my cock in San Francisco once, back when I used to write books. I don't know how she found me. She was just like, they're really literary up there in Scandinavia. They got a good education system. So it was this one girl, and she was like a chain smoker and like really fat from alcohol abuse. And she blew me while I lay there in my bed once at like 3 a.m. in San Francisco. But now like there are actual groupie girls, and it's kind of crazy because YouTube has been a repellent for so long. What, I'm 28 years old, 29 years old, and I'm going out with a microphone, like making dick jokes, asking girls about getting their ass licked, which is how my YouTube channel kind of started out. And yeah, I don't blame any girl that saw that or knew me from before for not wanting to come within a mile of my house ever again. But now, since the Nelk thing happened, people hit me up. These girls hit me up, and they're not only kind of hot usually. Some of them are like dateable. Like one of the girls I hung out with this week, like goes to like an Ivy League school and is hot, which is crazy. Again, they used to be fat Scandinavians, and like one girl with a tramp stamp from Las Vegas who hit me up. So what else do I have to say about that? Yeah, I had sex with one groupie girl right after the Tahoe thing, and then one like I hung out with twice later on in the hiatus. And I can't talk too much about them because I feel like it'd be disrespectful. And I had a good time, and like they're probably watching this, and I don't want to get an angry phone call. So that's one thing. But yeah, goddamn, I guess it makes sense like why a chick would hit me up and be down to fuck. Because for most guys, like if you're some fucking J.O. who works at Wells Fargo and you're an investment banker or something, you have to take a chick out to coffee, and you have to be witty and make a bunch of jokes. And then you have to take her out again, and you have to have like the long form dates where you're out getting drinks or you're out at the fucking opera or something. And you're like, yeah, in 15 years, I can see myself with a family living in the mountains with horses. Like you have to say all that fucking horseshit. And then like, but with me though, it's like girls, like I airdrop into the second date. Girls already know my sense of humor. They know my general goals in life, which is to be a comedian. And if they're okay with that, I guess they shoot me a fucking message. And if not, they just don't do anything. And so that's where I stand now. It's kind of cool. But the problem, like the bad thing about that is I could easily just get lost in going through my inbox and hitting up the 10, 11, 15 girls who hit me up every couple of months and want to have sex with me, and I can just get addicted to doing that and never again write or edit a video, because like going and having sex with some hot chick when you're drunk in a bar when you don't have to do any work is way more fun than doing YouTube video stuff. All right, you motherfuckers, let's get, this is what I'm talking about. Just get right into this. Somebody's trying to provoke me into saying the N-word. Eat ass and nut fast. This is the kind of highbrow shit that I should have signed off for. I should have signed on for, rather. Somebody's trying to get me to shave my head. Somebody asked me a fucking question. Top 3 albums. Somebody asked me about my favorite beat. Okay, god damn it. I saved some notes. I asked on another social media platform for people to hit me up with questions they wanted me to answer, and one of them was about my favorite album. It's specifically my favorite Beatles album. And I would say that's this is so distracting. Just people talking shit flying by on the screen. But yeah, my favorite album is Sgt. Pepper is the best album of all time by the Beatles, because that established rock and roll as a legitimate art form. But Rubber Soul and Revolver are the 2 more catchy, like better songy albums. That was my answer to both the favorite albums thing and somebody asking me about fucking Beatles. All right, I'm trying to answer questions here. I'm trying to, like, because that was my thing over there. Me telling you about groupies and doing coke and like vomiting and fucking Tahoe. I'm trying to like do your thing now. I'm trying to like acknowledge the animals. This is just like, it's like a fucking zoo. It's like there are a bunch of monkeys and peacocks making noises at me over here. How many inches is your penis? Yeah, I'll talk about my penis. I'm gonna do a video based on like cock pills pretty soon. So this seems like a good set. Yeah, get my cock out. YouTube will love that. So my cock is 6.2 or 3 or 1. It's one of those inches erect, measured the scientific way, which is from the top of the pubic bone, which is like here. Like, because dudes measure on the side and there's like all this give. There's like a pocket that sinks in 1.5 inches. So dudes do that and they're psyched and they're like, yeah, I got a 7-inch cock. No, you got to measure from the pubic bone. I was telling a girl recently, the biggest lie that mankind has ever perpetrated on womankind is that I have a 7-inch cock, because every guy you ever asks always says he has a 7-inch cock. But you know that's because he has like a 5.5-inch cock, but he jams the fucking ruler in deep. But my cock's just like average girth. It's like 4.7 inches or something, which I looked up scientifically, like across men, with like all these studies confirm is the average. So I got the average girth. And I'll tell you more about that video that I got coming up later, the penis pill one. It's going to be sweet. Somebody asked me my top 3 favorite comedians. Louis C.K. is the best comedian ever. I've come to the conclusion. I think he's better than Carlin, better than Pryor. All of his specials, like his last 10 fucking specials he's done, they're all like in the A range. They're like A minuses, regular A's, or A pluses. Like there's no difference between the one he did in 2007 and the one he just did called 2017. They're all like equally good. So that's incredible that he's managed to keep up that pace. Every year he puts out a special, unless he gets yelled at for jerking off in front of girls. Then he has to take a little bit of time off. He's fucking on a radio. He's such a learned dude. He knows about everything. They'll ask him about fucking economics, about history, about fucking literature, and he can just go off for like a 15-minute tangent, and it's spellbinding. It's so interesting and funny, which I'm already on 18 minutes now, about 15 minutes of which have been unwatchable and boring. So, yeah, Louis C.K. is my comedic hero. Nick DiPaolo is one of the best joke writers I've ever seen. He's got that really literary style of joke writing where every word counts, and the joke isn't like a fucking like set up punchline like Anthony Jeselnik, like it has a twist or a turn in it. It's just the joke is how funny he says a sentence because of his word selection. So somebody who came from like a book writing world, which I did, that's a huge influence on me. And I'll just say Artie Lang from the Howard Stern Show, because he doesn't give a fuck. And he's a blue-collar bastard, but he's a genius. And he's fucking vulgar. Okay, guys, I'm trying to answer questions here. And I got to stop dropping my elbows onto the table like a dude passing out over an oak bar. People just keep saying things about my hair. 6'6", baby? Is that your cock dimensions, dude? That's a girth monster. What's your body count? I've had sex with 154 girls. 154. Oasis. Somebody asked me what my favorite Oasis song. It's probably Supersonic. Not a very original answer. Slide Away. Or we'll try to give something interesting here. Girl in the Dirty Shirt. Fave book. Where is it? Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy is one of my favorite books. I think that and Catch-22 by Joseph Heller and The Great Gatsby are the 3 greatest American novels. How tall are you? I'm like 6'3". Favorite dildo? I like purple ones, and I like them to be fucking huge, dude. Gigantic. Guys, I wish I could do this better and like have like I could be taking, but like you see how fucking fast this shit is moving. I'm not a hummingbird. Are you suicidal? Yeah, dude. Like there's a 50-50 chance you ever see another video from me again. I might just die. When did you start BJJ? I started BJJ, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is the wrestling stuff I do in videos, the ground fighting. I started that in 2007 in high school, and I stopped caring about high school. I would just show up to high school classes late as shit and just not do any homework because I was out training BJJ, and I would train 5 or 6 days a week, and I would compete all the time. I was really, really serious about it. And then I took some time off in college, but I got back into it after college, and I went really hard again and started competing. And it's just like, it's in my system now. Like jiu-jitsu is always with me. So, because I was fucking good. I was really good when it was my thing. Sorry, people. This is terrible radio. I'm trying to read things. Favorite Kanye song? I don't listen to hip hop, dude. I only listen to rock and roll. I don't really get rap. I don't get EDM. All I listen to is rock. That's good enough for me. BJJ is gay. Somebody says that guy's fucking cool. That guy gets all the pussy, and I bet his wife is gonna love him someday. Somebody called him a racist. Somebody called me a racist. Excuse me. Danny for president. This is a fucking mess. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab my phone and I'm gonna use. So I took a poll about questions that I was gonna answer on the live stream. I did that earlier on another social media platform. Allow me to go get my phone and do that right now because I can't fucking read this. Like I want to do this, but I can't. Somebody said talk Trump. Yeah, I'll talk Trump. I don't like really care. Like I guess I'm libertarian is my political thing. Like I'm down for fucking gay people and fucking abortions, and if you're like transgendered, I'll call you she. Like I'll do whatever you want. But I think like taxes are bullshit. They need to be kept low. I don't think you should be fucking raiding corporations, fucking loot. I don't think that's good. I think keeping taxes low and not fucking over businesses is what keeps jobs going and keeps creating jobs in America. And since I've studied economics in college, like just conservative economics always made more sense to me. But I think Trump's hilarious as a guy, and I like that he's cracking down on tech censorship right now, because tech censorship is the only issue I really care about in politics at the moment, because that dictates whether or not I'm going to be able to do offensive comedy on the internet. So I like that Trump is putting Google and people in check so they can't, because like right now they're like, you can't fucking talk about being pro-life and all that shit, which like that's not me. I'm not like a pro-life guy or like one of the fucking dudes who's like burning a cross in Alabama. But the thing is, when you censor those people who like some of them, yeah, may or may not be bigots, like the next thing is like now we're going to start censoring dudes who are good people and not assholes, but make jokes that make them sound like sexist or racist or whatever. We're going to be the next to fucking go. So that's why I'm really skeptical of like the left's propaganda about like fucking everything, basically. All right. Favorite. Okay, I'm going to go get the list of things that people asked me earlier. Somebody called me a shithead. Dude, uncalled for. I'm not a shithead, man. Take that fucking back. I'm going to be right back. All right. Okay, I was correct. Just everybody's been an asshole, just been calling me relentlessly. I don't know why it's people's instincts. It's like they see him live doing something and just like immediately I'm going to start texting and calling this guy because I'm going to distract him. So people are saying CX. Who's that dude? CX. That's that Ice Poseidon guy. I don't know anything about him, guys. I don't watch the internet. I watch like real comedians. I'm sorry, guys. No disrespect to Ice Poseidon. I've heard he's a good man. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions that I fielded earlier. When did you decide to make a YouTube channel? Why at that moment? Did you just always want to do it, or was it something that you believed you could do, and did you just ditch everything? And I stopped reading that halfway through. Okay, so why I started a YouTube channel, people ask me that a lot. I have mentioned this a lot of times. While I was in college, I decided I wanted to write books, like nonfiction little books about my life and essays, which was fun, and they're really good. I wrote a bunch of them. They're on Amazon. But the problem was that it's really hard to get people in 2019 to read books. Because think about it. My YouTube videos, you click on, if something funny doesn't happen in the first minute, when you first find me, you would have stopped watching the video. But then if something does happen that's funny, you just keep watching, and like YouTube just tells you like, here, watch more of this asshole's videos. With books, they have to like fucking dig through the forest of Amazon, find this book by some person they don't know, and they have to buy it and then start reading pages. The thing is just nobody's gonna do that nowadays. So I would sell like 6 books after I wrote one, and I had to decide what I was gonna do to, like, because I was writing funny books, they were comedy, and I wanted to still make comedy my life and become a comedian, but I had to become more realistic about how I was gonna do it, because I was 26 years old. I hate everybody. Somebody's calling me right now. Hey, who is this? Yeah, why are you calling me right now? I know I'm doing a live stream. I don't know who this is, by the way, people. Why are you doing? Yeah, who is this? Who are you? Hey, you got the wrong number? Was this seriously a fucking wrong number right now? He hung up. The coward hung up. God damn it. I'm putting my phone on airplane mode, as I should have done a long time ago. We could have got something going there. If that guy wasn't such a fucking bitch, he would have stood on, he would have fielded my questions, and we could have had some good comedy. But he wasn't content just to ruin the live stream. He had to then hang up. Yeah, so it wasn't going to work doing books. So I wanted to get into writing sitcoms, being on a writing staff for like a TV show, like fucking whatever, The Big Bang Theory or something shitty like that. But which would have been a nightmare, like hanging out with a bunch of like PC fat dudes. And like I'm sure I would have hated everybody. So I tried to do that. I got rejected my applications to USC and UCLA screenwriting school. And like an ad came up for like how to learn how to be a YouTuber. And I took this fucking online course, and I decided like, fuck it. I'm going to put my shit out on the internet. And you know what? My intention might have been still at that point, like I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to have my fucking comedy on it. And these people saying CX are so gay. Like, this is retarded. This is so fucking nerdy. This guy, like, Ice Poseidon's like, dude, it's going to be sick. I'm going to have followers. They're going to get on people's live streams and get this. They're 2 letters. It's going to be a C, then it's going to be a fucking X. It's going to be so sick. It's like we're taking shit over. You guys are so fucking gay. But yeah, so I still kind of wanted to put out my content on YouTube, my comedy, and to have like a fucking agent pick me up, or like a show see my stuff and get hired as a Hollywood fucking screenwriter or TV writer. But eventually I got to the point where like I had my own fan base, and I saw these other YouTubers that I met or knew were getting rich and making money on YouTube. And then like I realized now like the real path is to like make enough money on YouTube to retire off of, and then I'm going to try to get into stand-up. I'm not going to try to, I'm going to get into stand-up. That's going to be the next path. So that's why I have a YouTube channel. Okay, let's get into the next shit here. Next fucking question. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry this is like a thing. Because this isn't working on the side and moves too fast. How many inches are you flaccid? My cock does not look good flaccid because I have giant nuts, and I think it's just like on the smaller side of a flaccid cock. So I don't know how many inches it is, but it's not good. Somebody's asking about my girth, penis girth. Already got into that. Will you be making more rant videos, kind of like the girls we follow on Instagram video, along with a big video for Thursday? So this guy's referring to the videos I used to do, which were more, they were kind of like stand-up comedy without an audience. I would write a bit, and the best ones of those were probably like the Instagram ads or bullshit, or like the I found my high school reunion video. And then I kind of did one when I analyzed cameraman Nico's video, like the 4 fags on the beach video. That was kind of the same thing, like an in my room video. And I might start doing more of those. I might start doing like 1 a month. And some people might not like that because those videos usually don't get as much or don't get as high of views. But the thing is, I want to be a fucking comedy writer. And earlier, like the first half of this year, there were times when I was so busy editing videos, so busy like calling up the fucking whorehouse, like calling up the VR room down in San Diego, coordinating our shoots, that there wasn't time to write. Like I'd write twice a week, which isn't enough to become a good writer. So doing one of those videos where like there's no fucking filming shoot, like I have to either make shit funny right here or the video sucks. That's a really good exercise for me to get better as a comedian. So I'm going to start doing more of those. And I have one right now that's involved me buying a bunch of dick enhancement products. And that's all I'm going to say. We'll see if there's anything coherent going on in the sidebar. What about your cock? I wish, man. I wish I could whip my cock out. I know the people are clamoring for it. Tell a story about the dumbest, greatest. See, it's like we're getting into something. Guy who was trying to ask a legitimate question, I appreciate you. I tried to read your inquiry, but things went too fast, and I didn't know what it was. How tight is a professional prostitute? I'm of the persuasion that there's no correlation between sluttiness and like vagina tightness. And I fucked a mom who had 3 kids, and it was one of like the tightest, best vaginas I've ever had sex with. So unless she had cosmetic surgery, I think there's nothing great. Okay, so it wasn't that good after all. Some guy asked what was the greatest, dumbest thing I did in Roseville, California, which is a city like right next to my fucking city. That's stupid, dude. I don't fucking know. I think I got roadhead driving through there once on my way to community college. That wasn't dumb though. That was a great idea. Next thing. What was the most offensive joke I ever made? I make a lot of offensive jokes. The one I made in the video with Evan, Barbershop Evan, in the Kissing Black Girls video, where I was talking to the security guard, and he was telling me that shopping center was for low-income people who need help with their bills. And I was like, wait, so this is a place for low-income people? And he's like, yes. And I was like, so there must be a lot of black women here. Because I was looking for black girls to kiss. That was a pretty offensive joke. But the thing is, Evan, who's an African-American man, he laughed at it. So it's not offensive if it's a funny joke. Where things become offensive is if you try to make a really edgy joke and it's not funny, then like it becomes interpretable as offensive. You know what's ridiculous? Both my roommates, who are fucking great guys, like I don't have any problem with them at all, but they thought I was really fucking pushing the envelope on this last video we did. The I Fired Him video, we were blaming the fireworks on the Jews. Like, they thought that was super edgy and borderline anti-Semitic, which I think is fucking ridiculous because it was so clear that was in parody. And then obviously a Jewish guy with earlocks and a yarmulke didn't come around knocking on the door with a bottle of Wild Turkey, force it down my throat, and make me go light some shit off in the street. Fuck your sister? Hey, wait, you want me to, or you're saying, like, fuck her, like you don't like her? Because it's okay for... I'll have sex with her, dude. That's no biggie. But you can't be telling my sister to fuck off. And if that was what you were trying to do, apologize right now. Play guitar? Dude, I suck at guitar. The one song I got, and this is like, because this is the most embarrassing band that I don't just like, I actually like really fucking love, is My Chemical Romance, which was just like, they're the height of the fucking like long dyed black hair and eyeliner and tight jeans emo thing. And they got that song that's... Is that a tune? It's not working. Oh, it's in drop D. I can't play anymore. All right. Worst sex. I'm a terrible guitarist, by the way, people. I never claimed to be fucking good at that. Play Nirvana. It's fucking Teen Spirit, dude. I don't even know how to tune a guitar very quickly. Wait. Yeah. All you CXers can go fuck yourself. Come back to San Diego. You want me to suck my own balls? Dude, and now it's getting did I anger the CXers? Dude, the CX mob is fucking mad, dude. They're loyal, you know? They're fucking loyal. It's like their boy Ice Poseidon, he's got their back, dude. And like, so they gotta fucking rally, dude. If his name comes up, they gotta fucking find that C key. And then convenient for them, the X key is it's the neighbor of the C key. It's located right to the left. There's the X. And they press that, and that lets people know that they belong to something. They're not individuals. They're not a lone wolf. They're like Hell's Angels of the new age. And so respect to you guys. You guys are fucking tight. Faye football team. Yeah, I used to think football, because in high school, all I was doing was going out and doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I thought fucking football was jock shit. I wanted no part of it. But as a comedian and a YouTuber, I'm really competitive and I work really fucking hard. So I saw clips of the dudes on the sideline, like getting in each other's face, like Tom Brady psyching up his fucking team, or Aaron Donald is this big defensive guy on the fucking Rams. Like I saw him walking around on the sidelines, just like yelling at himself. I was like, I fucking back these dudes. These guys got the same competitive drive I've got. So then I stayed with my parents for one Christmas break once, and they're obsessed with football. Started watching, and now I got hooked. And now I just like lay around jerking off to games on Sunday. My favorite teams are, like, I got into the Rams, which is bandwagony as shit and fucking lame, but they were good this year, so I'm probably going to watch them next year. And then I got into the Eagles because Nick Foles kept doing incredible stuff in the offseason, or in the playoffs. That's what you call it. And so I liked the Eagles for a while, but now he plays for Jacksonville. Yeah, street fights. I'll talk about street fights. I've only lost one fight, which was my first fight ever. And I think I told the story on one or another live, but it was like every fucking high school fight is not about anything. Like when you're in high school, you don't walk in and find some guy fucking your wife and then go fisticuffs. It's like, oh, you took my stapler, or like you fucking like wrote my girlfriend a note in pottery class, even though she's not really my girlfriend, and I just said hi to her once. Like that's what you fight over in high school. So the kid, like I think I like gave his brother an Indian burn, and we like met in the quad and were yelling at each other. He told me to meet him at China Wall, which is this cliff that I've jumped in an old video. I jumped it in like the I think my friend is gay video from last summer. We fought up there, and he was this Mormon kid. And I still maintain to this day that it was bullshit, because there was a Mormon temple that's on the horizon, and you can see the fucking spire that comes up over the trees, and he fucking picked the location. So I think it was like Achilles back on the ancient battlefield would raise his sword and his troops would get like a morale boost. This fucker had the morale his way the entire time, so I had no shot. But we were like the worst style of fighting. Like we were just exchanging punches directly to each other's skull, like just hitting each other in the fucking head. Like I would hit him in the jaw, he would spin around, he would hit me square in the eye, and my head would snap back. We did probably irrevocable brain damage to each other. And then like at one point he hit me fucking right in the face and dropped me on my fucking ass like a flash knockout. I wasn't out, but I fell to my butt and I was stunned, and I was like, all right, I'm done. And then I started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu after that. And then I would get in fights in college a lot because I just hated my life in college. I hated everybody. All these like white collar fucking like I'm applying to Stanford Med, so I had to fucking go contribute to this homeless foundation and like all that. I hated everything. So I was gonna drink this, but I think I spit in it earlier. So I hated everybody, and I'd go out and just get blacked out drunk. And this Indian kid I was friends with, this degenerate Indian kid who I think hated himself too. We would just stand out on street corners at night, getting blacked out drunk together, and just talking shit to everybody who walked by. It didn't matter who they were, how big their group was, because UCLA, everybody's a little pencil neck pussy, and I knew we'd be able to take them. And I'm not endorsing this. It was the douchiest, lamest period of my life, and I hated it, but it's kind of funny. So we were just like, hey, fuck you, you fucking pussy. I had sex with your girlfriend's ass. Like another guy would walk by, it's like, hey, go die in a ravine, you fucking faggot. Just doing whatever we could to make people angry enough to come over and fight us. And I kid you not, we did this probably 30 times in one night. And finally, the 31st group of dudes decided they would take the bait and fight us. And it was two guys. We squared off, me versus one, and the Indian kid versus the other. And then my guy, I took him down. We locked up, like standing up. I took him down. I threw a punch and just KO'd him immediately, and he was just out. But before, and this was in with like probably 15 seconds. But then within that window, I hear all of a sudden, Daddy! I look over. My buddy is just on his back getting the shit beaten out of him. The other kid is just wailing away on the Indian kid. So I ran over, and I didn't want to hit my own buddy in the face. So I just started dropping elbows on the kid who was beating him up's spinal cord, thinking that would do damage. And then my guy, who I knocked out, like came to and ran over and like jumped on my back. So I had to shed him off. But then at that, I already answered how big my cock is. Dude, I already talked about my cock in detail. But so I shed the guy off my back. And then for some reason, my buddy, he gets up. I don't remember how he was able to free himself. But by that time, a huge crowd had formed. And we were just like, oh, okay, fuck, now we better leave before there are consequences to this whole thing. And we just ran off into the darkness. So those are the kind of fights I used to have in college. I've probably been in like 12 scuffles. but about 6 fights where it was like one-on-one, you and me are going to fight until one of us falls over. I don't know how to play While My Guitar Gently Weeps, dude. Yeah, fucking, I've been so into the Beatles lately. I want to talk more about the Beatles, but I'm afraid I'm going to piss people off. Yeah, I can't dive into that. Okay, so I'm going to pull up some more questions, or I'll try to field some questions from here. I hope this is going all right, people. Currently, see, now it's just, I'm sorry, I can't let you guys know what's going on. Okay, talk about the Beatles. Okay, I'll get into the answer more about what my favorite Beatles album is. So for the people who don't know about the Beatles, this is how their fucking career worked. Because I've been like, I read a fucking scholarly book on them, and then I've just been watching a bunch of documentaries and reading interviews on the Beatles. So here's what's up with the Beatles, people. They were fucking they played for like fucking 6-7 years. They would just take methamphetamine every night and play for 8 hours straight in German whorehouses. That's how the Beatles got their start. They were all poor as shit. John's mom and dad, John Lennon, his dad just fucked his mom and then just sailed off to sea and ran away. Then his mom like just pawned him off on his aunt and then died. Fucking Paul McCartney's mom died when he was really young. George Harrison and fucking Ringo Starr were so poor that they were basically homeless. They were just rats, the Beatles. But they would take their meth, they would go to the fucking whorehouses, and they would play their songs. And they sucked at first. They were fucking terrible. They had no musical knowledge. None of them could read music. They couldn't even be bothered to practice. They weren't even that smart, like television and pop culture. But eventually Brian Epstein, this gay guy, comes along, wants to fuck John Lennon and Pete Best, their original drummer, says, all right, motherfuckers, I'll sign you. I'm going to make it huge. Did he actually believe in them? Maybe. Did he just want to fuck Pete Best and John Lennon? I think that was the real motivation. But anyway, he signs them on. But by that time, they've been playing in these whorehouses for so many years, for so many hours, that they know how a fucking pop song works. They've been covering other songs. They haven't been writing their own, but they know, like, oh, okay, most songs go G, fucking C, D. Like, I'm going to write my own song and my own melody. So they write Love Me Do, which kind of blows. That's their first original. But then they write fucking Please, Please Me. Goes to #1. Television had just been invented too. So the United States hadn't heard about him or anything, but then eventually they wrote I Want to Hold Your Hand, got broadcast in America back when there were like 3 channels. 60 million people see these motherfuckers, and JFK just got assassinated. So everybody was fucking crying and like wanted a new hero to worship. And then we got these fucking handsome gentlemen. They play in this cute little song about holding hands. America gets fully erect for the Beatles. That's Beatlemania. It's huge. It's hysteria. Girls piss themselves and want to rape them. The thing was, back then, there was no art in music. So their fucking managers were like, I don't care if you guys want to write better songs. I want 2 albums, plus a movie, plus a book, plus 6 singles this year. So most of their early albums were just shit. They were just like covers with like 2 good songs. I said 2, but I put up 3. But then after they put out a bunch of shitty albums with some really good songs and singles, they released Rubber Soul. They started smoking weed, and they put out this album, Rubber Soul, in I think 65. And that was the first album where like there were experimental noises. The lyrics were fucking masterful. Like, and not only were the lyrics good, but they were such good songwriters at that point that the music that they were writing, like they call it a harmonic metaphor. So there's a song that's called like If I Fell, for instance, where it's about relationship uncertainty, and the parts of the song where the lyrics are uncertain, the song is in no key. It's like the chords they're using aren't in any kind of real key. But then like when it gets into a more certain part, it goes back into like a fucking C major key. They do shit like that nobody today, like fucking any rapper or EDM shithead has no idea what the fuck any of that means. But they did that on Rubber Soul, masterpiece, Revolver, masterpiece, and they put out Sgt. Pepper, which changed everything in rock and roll. Rock and roll was seen as a novelty. That like rock and roll was like what EDM is right now. It was on its way down. Elvis was gone. Like the black musicians, like they kind of were, their heyday was over. But then the Beatles bring it up. People think it's still a bubble. But then when Sgt. Pepper came out, all the jazz publications, all the fucking blues people, they're like, all right, this is undeniably a masterpiece. We're going to start writing about rock and roll. And it's been a fucking part of the musical canon ever since. Like rock and roll is kind of not popular now, but it's been fucking huge up until like the last decade with like Radiohead and the Strokes and Arcade Fire, all these really credible bands. Yeah, somebody saying they love Sgt. Pepper's. I love Sgt. Pepper too. The thing is, they took off Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. Like they were supposed to put those on the album, but they took them off to be singles. So Sgt. Pepper kind of lacks like the big song punch that a lot of their other albums have. Like Revolver might have better songs, and then fucking like Rubber Soul or Abbey Road might have better songs. But the Sgt. Pepper thing was the first concept album. The artwork is revolutionary. It was like modern art on the front of the album, the collage with all the fucking figurines of historical people. And then it's got Day in the Life, which is like arguably the best song ever. It's the best Beatles song, and it's fucking beautiful. That's the ending song. And it's the way that album's set up is it's the opening thing, like they introduced the Sgt. Pepper concept. There are a bunch of songs that don't have much to do with Sgt. Pepper. Then they like say goodnight to the crowd at the end with another Sgt. Pepper song. And the idea is it's a big party. The album is a huge party. And then the Day in the Life is the aftermath where John Lennon and Paul McCartney are waking up on Monday morning, reading the newspaper, and Paul McCartney's got to get to work. And so that's kind of how the concept of that album works. And it's a masterpiece, and I'm obsessed with the Beatles right now, as evidenced by that whole tangent. So he said, worst sex story? So we have a podcast, me and Leo, and it's called The Leo and Danny Show. It's linked on my main channel. Watch the first episode. That'll answer your question. And Elliott Smith, I love Elliott Smith, dude. Elliott Smith's another guy, musician who, like, all of his albums are just fucking great. It's kind of like the Beatles. You can't separate, like, is one better than the other? And I like him, too. Hunter S. Thompson. Yeah, I'll talk about Hunter S. Thompson. So Hunter S. Thompson wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He's a journalist. This was the first book that made me want to become a writer. It made me not want to be a lawyer, made me want to drop out of school, or at least, like, I would graduate, but I wasn't, like, my heart wasn't in being a college graduate or professional anymore. It was this book. And I still think about this, like, how big of an influence this book is on me all the time. Like, I've read it probably 20 times, and, like, I watched the movie a bunch. But what they do in this movie, they just take a bunch of drugs and they just lie to people all the time. Like, we're going to Vegas to croak a skag baron named Savage Henry. They just make up all these lies that are, like, never referenced again in the book. And I noticed that, like, me and Leo, we do that all the time in our videos. We just concoct these insane stories and just babble lies at people. And so that's a little history of fucking Hunter S. Thompson and Danny. All right, guys. I'm going to see if anything catches my eye, but I'm going to about wrap this up. Dude, I was jamming Blink-182 the other day. But I'm sorry, guys. This is getting too specific now. I'm just talking about the fucking Beatles and goddamn Fear and Loathing. But first real video next Thursday. It's coming at you guys. Thanks for sticking around and tolerating this. I appreciate you, motherfuckers. Dude, somebody said I'm fucking ugly. Hey, how dare you, dude? I am a handsome gentleman. But, yeah, this was fun. I had a good time. I will see you guys next Thursday, or maybe on Instagram if you choose to check out one of those streams later.